Ladies, fellas, let me talk to y'all for a minute. Now, when you hear that title, men fantasize about doing this to women they love. Your mind might run somewhere it ain't supposed to. But hold up, it's not what you think. See, real men don't fantasize about using women. Real men fantasize about loving them right. Let me break this down. When a man truly loves a woman, he don't dream about fancy cars or clubs or games. He dreams about providing peace. Yeah, peace. He fantasizes about coming home, seeing that smile, and knowing she feels safe. He wants to be her protector, her provider, and her peace all at once. You ask a real man what his biggest fantasy is, it ain't what's on TV. It's seeing his woman glow because she knows she's loved. He dreams of the day he can say, "Baby, you don't ever have to worry again. I got us." He fantasizes about putting her in that house she's been talking about her walking into a room full of people and everybody can tell that's his woman and she's happy. See, when a man is in love, he don't just want to touch you. He wants to trust you. He wants to build something with you that don't break when life gets hard. He wants to be the man that makes you feel chosen every single day. And ladies, let me tell you something. When a man really loves you, his fantasy ain't about control, it's about commitment. He wants to see you win. He wants to see you smile. Because when you smile, he feels like he did something right. That's the secret right there. Men fantasize about loving a woman they can build with, a woman who challenges them, supports them, and believes in them. Not a perfect woman, a real one. So the next time you wonder what men really think about when they love a woman, it's not about what they can get, it's about what they can give. Because a man's greatest fantasy is turning the woman he loves into the happiest woman in the world. When a man truly loves a woman, his mind shifts from the surface to something deeper. It's not about the thrill, not about the chase, and definitely not about some temporary excitement. What he starts to crave is peace, not just for himself, but for her. He fantasizes about giving her that kind of calm that the world rarely offers. The kind of peace where she can exhale after holding her breath for too long. The kind of peace that makes her feel like she's finally safe to just be herself. See, when a man falls in love, he doesn't dream about chaos or games. He dreams about being her peace in a world that constantly tries to steal it. Every man who's grown, who's seen life, who's fought his battles, he understands that peace is priceless. He knows what it's like to come home to noise, to stress, to confusion. And when he finds a woman who brings him comfort, his fantasy becomes giving her that same energy right back. He wants to be her calm place. He wants her to feel like she doesn't have to guard her heart with him, that she doesn't have to question his motives or wonder where she stands. He wants her to know she's safe, valued, and respected. That's what real men fantasize about, giving her something the world can't. He starts to imagine small moments, not flashy, not loud, just real. Sitting on the couch laughing about nothing, taking a drive with no destination, holding her hand in silence, knowing that even without words, she feels secure. He thinks about the way her face softens when she's not worried, the way her smile returns when she knows he's got her back. That's the fantasy, to be the reason she finally believes love can be peaceful, not painful. Men don't talk about this out loud because it's not the kind of thing that gets claps or attention. But deep down, the strongest fantasy isn't about what he can get from a woman. It's about what he can give her, and peace. That's the rarest gift of all. When he loves her, he wants to shield her from the noise, the doubt, the insecurity that life throws her way. He wants her to sleep well knowing he's got her. He wants her to wake up smiling, not wondering. He wants to be her comfort zone, not her battlefield. That's how men who truly love think. The fantasy of giving peace comes from maturity. It comes from learning that real love isn't about control, it's about care. It's about being her calm after the storm, her rest after the rush. It's not about proving anything to anyone else. It's about creating a space where she can finally be soft because she knows she's protected. When a man fantasizes about giving peace, it's not weakness, it's power. The kind of power that builds forever, not just a moment. When a man truly falls in love, something inside him shifts. It's no longer just about what she looks like or how she makes him feel in the moment. It becomes about purpose. Love makes him want to step up to be something more than he's ever been before. He starts to fantasize about providing, not just in the sense of money or gifts, but in every area that matters. He wants to provide stability, comfort, safety, and consistency. He wants to be the reason she feels secure, not anxious. He dreams about protecting her, not because he thinks she's weak, but because he recognizes her value and wants to keep that light safe. A real man's fantasy isn't built on control, it's built on care. When he loves a woman, he sees her as part of him. Her peace becomes his mission. Her joy becomes his reward. He wants to handle the things that stress her out. He wants to lift the burdens off her shoulders. He wants her to know that if she ever falls, he'll be there to catch her. That's not ego, that's love in action. He fantasizes about being dependable, about being that man she can call at any hour, about being the one she doesn't have to second guess. When he provides, it's not just about finances. It's emotional and spiritual too. He wants to be the man who provides reassurance when the world tries to make her doubt herself. He wants to provide laughter when life feels heavy. He wants to provide warmth when everything around her feels cold. That's the kind of protection he dreams about, not guarding her body, but guarding her peace of mind. A man in love imagines standing in front of whatever life throws at her and saying, "You don't have to face this alone." That thought right there. That's what drives him. Men may not always say it out loud, but when they love with action. They think about how to make things easier for her, how to lighten her load. They fantasize about being that constant she can count on, about being strong when she's tired, about being soft when she needs comfort. He wants her to feel safe in his presence, to trust that no matter what's going on outside, he's got her covered inside. That fantasy of providing and protecting isn't about dominance, it's about devotion. The deeper his love grows, the stronger that desire becomes. It's not just about protecting her from the world, but sometimes even from herself, from overthinking, from worry, from the pain she's carried. He dreams of giving her the kind of life where she can finally relax, finally breathe. Because when a man loves, right, his biggest fantasy isn't owning a woman, it's protecting her heart like it's his own. He doesn't want her to survive. He wants her to feel safe enough to live. When a man is truly in love, his fantasy shifts from the physical to the emotional. He starts to picture something that most people overlook, the happiness of the woman he loves. He imagines her smiling, laughing, glowing with peace, and knowing deep down that she's secure. That's the picture that stays in his head. It's not about how she looks when everything's perfect. It's about how she feels when everything's real. He wants to see her free from worry, free from doubt, standing tall, because she knows she's loved right. That image becomes his drive, his motivation, his quiet fantasy. Men don't always say it, but seeing the woman they love happy hits them in a place words can't touch. It's a feeling of pride mixed with purpose. When he sees her at peace, when he sees her laugh from her soul, he feels like he's done something right. That's the real reward for a man who's all in. He doesn't dream about drama or competition. He dreams about being the reason she feels secure enough to shine. That's what fills his mind. Not a fantasy of possession, but a vision of peace that he helped create. A man in love pays attention to the details. He notices the little things that make her day better. He imagines her waking up with a smile because she knows she's safe with him. He thinks about her coming home after a long day and exhaling the stress because he's her calm place. He wants her to feel like she can depend on him emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. He doesn't just want to be the man in her life. He wants to be the peace in her life. That's what he fantasizes about, being the person who brings her comfort in a world that's often too harsh. It's not about perfection, it's about consistency. Men who love deeply understand that security doesn't come from words, it comes from actions. So he starts to picture himself showing up every day, proving that she can count on him. He imagines the look on her face when she realizes she doesn't have to question his love. That's the moment he lives for. That quiet reassurance that says, I'm safe here. He fantasizes about giving her that kind of love, the kind that doesn't fade when things get tough. There's something powerful about seeing the woman you love at peace. For a man, that's not just attraction, that's fulfillment. He dreams about being the man who gives her that balance, who keeps her smiling, who reminds her that she's valued. It's not about material things or status. It's about emotional safety, the kind that lets her breathe, trust, and grow. When a man truly loves, his fantasy isn't her body or her attention. It's her happiness, her peace, her glow. Because to him, there's nothing more beautiful than a woman who feels secure enough to just be herself. When a man grows into real love, his entire idea of romance transforms. It's no longer about ownership, it's about oneness. He stops thinking in terms of mine and starts thinking in terms of us. His fantasy isn't about having control over a woman, it's about creating a partnership where both people rise together. He starts to dream about balance, about teamwork, about building something strong that can stand the tests of life. Love, for him, becomes less about possessing her and more about protecting the bond they share. That's the shift, from ego to unity, from possession to partnership. When a man's love matures, he begins to understand that true strength is found in equality. He doesn't want to dominate her, he wants to walk beside her. He imagines the two of them building dreams together, supporting each other through storms and celebrating every victory, no matter how small. His fantasy is not about being in charge. It's about being in sync. He wants to be part of a connection where both voices matter, where both hearts are heard, where both people feel seen. That's the kind of love that lasts, and that's the kind of love he starts to chase once he understands what real partnership means. He starts picturing life differently. He imagines conversations that go beyond the surface, late nights where they talk about goals, fears, and everything in between. He thinks about teamwork, about growing together instead of competing. He doesn't see her as someone to manage or mold, but as someone to respect and learn from. He fantasizes about having a woman who challenges him to think deeper, who pushes him to be better, not because she demands it, but because she inspires it. That's what love looks like to a man who's learned the value of partnership. In his mind, love stops being a game of power and becomes a journey of purpose. He wants to build a connection where both people pour into each other, where they share energy, ideas, and love in equal measure. He dreams about being the kind of man who leads with respect, who protects without limiting, who supports without smothering. He imagines her doing the same, having his back, believing in his vision, standing beside him in strength. That's what makes him feel complete. It's not about control, it's about connection. The fantasy of partnership comes from understanding that no one wins when love becomes a competition. He wants her to feel free even while she's loved deeply. He wants her to have her independence, her voice, her dreams. And he wants to be part of the reason she feels brave enough to chase them. He doesn't want to cage her, he wants to climb with her. That's what men who truly love start to dream about, a bond that's balanced, equal, and strong enough to last through anything life brings. When a man truly loves a woman, his heart starts thinking long term. He stops looking at love as something temporary or entertaining. It becomes a mission, a commitment, a vision. He starts to fantasize not about moments, but about building something that lasts. He wants to grow with her, not just go out with her. He wants to build a life, not just live for the weekend. The woman he loves becomes his motivation to create, to improve, to build stability. He doesn't just want to be with her, he wants to build with her. That's where the real fantasy begins, in the idea of building a future hand in hand. When a man is in love, his thoughts start expanding beyond himself. He starts seeing her in his plans. Suddenly, every dream he has includes her presence. He imagines her at his side through every milestone, through the highs and lows, through the building stages and the breakthroughs. He starts to fantasize about what they can accomplish together. A home filled with laughter, goals achieved as a team, a love that stands firm no matter what. He wants to be her partner in progress, not just her companion in passing. He begins to understand that real love isn't about perfection, it's about persistence. It's not about finding someone flawless, it's about finding someone worth building with. He dreams about creating something that outlasts the early excitement, a bond that grows deeper with time. He doesn't want to just talk about love, he wants to live it through action, through work, through consistency. He starts to think about saving, planning, sacrificing, and investing not just for himself, but for the O's. They're becoming. That's how a man who truly loves starts to think in terms of foundation, structure, and growth. He also knows that building with someone requires trust. So he starts to fantasize about a love where both people believe in each other completely. He wants her to know that she's safe to dream, to try, to fail, and to rise again because he's in her corner through it all. He wants her to see him as her teammate, not her rival. He wants to inspire her while being inspired by her. Together, they become each other's motivation, pushing each other to higher levels. That's the picture that plays in his mind, not luxury or status, but legacy. When a man loves a woman deeply, he doesn't just want to exist beside her. He wants to build a life where both of them can flourish. He dreams of growth, emotional, financial, spiritual, and personal. He fantasizes about seeing her evolve and being part of her journey, just like she's part of his. He doesn't dream of ownership. He dreams of partnership. He wants to be part of something that lasts, something that feels like progress, something that matters. To him, love isn't just a feeling, it's a project worth building every single day. When a man loves a woman deeply, his biggest fantasy isn't about grand gestures or expensive gifts. It's about making her feel chosen every single day. He wants her to wake up knowing that out of everyone in the world, he still chooses her, not just once, not just in the beginning, but over and over again. He fantasizes about being the man who never lets her question her worth, who reminds her through his actions that she's not just loved, but valued. That's the heartbeat of real love, the daily decision to choose her even when it's not easy, even when life gets complicated. A man in love understands that consistency is more powerful than intensity. He doesn't just want to impress her, he wants to reassure her. He wants to show up when he says he will, listen when she talks, and be present even when words aren't needed. In his mind, that's what choosing her looks like, not just being there when things are fun, but staying grounded when things get tough. He fantasizes about giving her the security of knowing his love won't fade with time. He wants her to know that even when the spark turns into routine, she's still his priority, still his person, still the one he's thankful for. He dreams about the small things that remind her of that choice, holding her hand in public so she knows he's proud to have her, looking her in the eyes when she's speaking so she feels heard, sending a message just to say he's thinking of her, not because he has to, but because he wants to. He imagines the joy on her face when she realizes that she doesn't have to compete with anyone for his attention, because in his world she's already won. That's the kind of fantasy that makes a man want to do better, love better, and show up stronger. To him, choosing her means showing loyalty when temptation appears, showing patience when tension rises, showing grace when mistakes happen. He wants her to see that his love isn't conditional on perfection. He chooses her flaws, her moods, her insecurities, not because they're easy, but because they're part of who she is. He fantasizes about being her safe place, the one person who won't walk away when life gets messy. That daily choice becomes his greatest source of pride, because in choosing her, he finds his own peace. When a man truly loves a woman, he doesn't take her presence for granted. He doesn't let comfort turn into complacency. He wants to remind her that she's still his first thought in the morning and his calm at night. He dreams of creating a love so steady that she never doubts it, a love that speaks louder through consistency than any words ever could. To him, the ultimate fantasy is simple: to make her feel chosen, not just once when it began, but every day they continue to grow together.